Welcome back to Two Gals. We are in the last week of December. We have created dream goals. We have created a year goal for this year, for this upcoming 2024. We've taken that dream goal in all of the 8 categories. We have broken it down into monthly goals, so 12 monthly goals for each of those categories. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that monthly goal and each monthly goal, and we're going to break it down into a 4 or 5 week goal along with daily. So these are the very, very, very small steps that we can take. And we take them daily, day by day by day, very small. But at the end of the year, they're going to get us to where we want to be. Hit subscribe below on YouTube. Follow us on Podcasts and everywhere else. We'd love for you to follow us to stay up to date on all of that's going to happen in 2024. And Dr. Jess, as we get started, what is in your glass today?
So I am on the last bit of my water. So it says 80% is good enough. And I have it printed on my water bottle. And it just kind of helps to remind me that I'm imperfect and that's okay. Which I think is really important to talk about, especially with this episode with goal setting, is that we are imperfect. And so it's okay to not be 100%. So, Dr. Bobbie, what's in your glass?
I have H2O as well, some good ice water. So
I like it.
Plain and simple.
Yep. So as we've come down our funnel from our big, big dreams and aspirations into our realistic goals that can be achieved between 6 months and 5 years, and then we've brought those down into the concept of breaking them into monthly chunks that will lead us to completion of that longer goal. And so that's where we've gotten so far in December. Now what we need to talk about is once we have that monthly goal, we still, again, I'm all about dopamine release because each time we achieve something, we get excited by that and it's rewarding. And that reward system of our brain is really important to be able to tap into because that's how we can actually keep the energy level up when we're talking about sustainable change. And I think it's really important to make sure we highlight reward. Reward is key. We don't reward if we haven't achieved it though, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't get down on ourselves either. We just say, okay, no big deal. I didn't quite get to where I wanted to go. However, focus on what you did do, right? So I did make it this far, which was further than I was. Mm-hmm. And so maybe I'll still celebrate the part that I did achieve. And that's key with saying it's okay to not be 100%. So I might not have if I set this goal and I didn't quite achieve it, and so maybe I set this big reward, well, maybe I'll just bring that back a little bit and still have a win. And so that concept is what we're going to be really tapping into when we talk about breaking things into weekly and daily goals, because we want to really always reframe the what has been achieved so far. It's why we've named this podcast Two Gals and a Glass Half Full, because when that glass is half empty, it feels empty. When that glass is half full, it feels much more fun.
Especially when it's a glass of wine.
Absolutely. So it's just how we frame our thinking is big time going to frame how we're going to move forward. And so, Dr. Bobbie, when you talk about, or when you think about your own goal setting for the year, and you think about breaking these monthly goals down into actually achievable steps, what are some of the first things you start with?
So after I've taken, those big dream goals, I figured out what do I want to accomplish in each year. One thing that I want to really focus on this year in each of the categories. I do make the monthly goals. So I will at that point kind of space out the monthly goals. But then from there, I kind of focus on month to month. So when I'm making these daily and weekly goals, I do 1 month at a time.
Oh yeah.
That way I'm not trying to do all 12 months, because I promise you they're going to change after week 1. And so what I do is I take that first goal of let's say, for example, health. We've been talking about financial in the other ones. Let's talk about, actually, I'm going to change it. Let's talk about personal growth.
Okay.
And let's say I really want to increase my knowledge, we've been really studying the blue zone and research for that. So my goal for the month of January is to finish 2 of the books. So what I'm going to do is, okay, realistically, I have a new baby, a family to take care of, a business to run, work to do. I am not going to have time to read every day. So realistically, in this week, if there's 200 pages in the book and there's 4 weeks in a year, I need to get through 50 pages.
Yeah, to be able to finish it.
In a week to finish it. So I'll break my goals down into that. And then, 50 pages, that's like 7 pages a day. So I do write the goal as a daily goal, but by the end of that week, my goal is to read 50 pages. And maybe one day I read 20 and 2 days I read 0, but like I set up that weekly goal to achieve that.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's kind of like the realistic answer for all of this is when we make our goals so like just hardcore, like no matter what, it has to be achieved in this manner, and you don't allow for what we call the pivot. So no matter what, we pivot in life. We think this is going to happen, and then there's something that was unforeseen that gets in your way. And so we could just kind of like just keep hitting into it, and sometimes we do this, sometimes I do this, and after a little while you realize it's literally like a metal wall, like you're not going through it. So then you turn and you're like, oh look, there's an opening right there. And then you walk through it. And so the whole idea with goal setting is to still have some fluid motion. And so the best place to have the fluid motion is in that daily and weekly goal setting. So we still kind of want to get to that. Ideally, we still want to stay on target with like what we want to achieve in a month, more or less, if possible. How we do that is most likely going to change based on when you're realistically implementing whatever changes you're going to implement. So you don't really know how it's going to go until you do it. And then you have to reassess of like, did it go well? Did it not go well? Meaning, how did I feel? Did it work? Was it achievable? Did I pull from something too much in order to put something somewhere else? So Dr. Bobbie's example of reading. Well, she could really like say, I've got to make sure that I read all of these pages because I set this goal, and then she's going to pull from sleep because she stays up too late sleeping, and then now boom, 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 boom comes the cascade of I'm tired, I'm like just more irritable, I'm not as, productive, my work is going to suffer, my interpersonal relationships are going to suffer. So was all of that worth it to like read these pages of a book for personal growth? So you kind of have to question at some point, like, when do I pivot? And when do I say reading 40 pages is fine right now? And then you say, what's a better way for me to go about achieving this goal? Because I really do value achieving this goal. So one thing that I do is I know that on weekdays, my time is different than weekends. And I can kind of moderate based on that. And I've got different evenings during the week where we have things going on and different evenings where we don't. And so I'll usually stack some of the extras on the evenings that we don't have swim lessons or whatever else might be going on. And then on the weekends, I'll kind of stack a little bit more that it goes more towards my goal setting versus surviving normal life. So
I think that's looking at, so like when you take that monthly goal and you're cutting that down, you're dividing that into weekly goals. Sometimes to achieve that monthly goal, you're going to have multiple, that's where you're going to start having multiple goals to kind of achieve that goal, and multiple ways to do that. And I also think that's important where you pull in the daily and you have a planner for daily. And a lot of times when you're looking at daily, you're not just looking at today or you're not just looking at tomorrow. You like look at a week at a time, and that's why we talk about weekly goals, is because then you're going to kind of time block. And we've talked a lot about this before, but you're going to look at your week and like where can you fit it in, and you're going to ride it in, and you're going to make it this is this time for this, and you gotta have the discipline to kind of follow it, which sometimes is hard. But like having that daily schedule and doing that the week before. Again, fluidity, it's going to change. You got to be able to accept change, and you got to be able to kind of go with the flow. But at least you look at Sunday night, I look at my whole week and I plan, and I know what's going to happen until Saturday. I do kind of leave the weekends as a little bit more free.
Yeah.
But Sunday night, I know Monday through Friday what's going on. And I have it all blocked out. You know, when am I going to exercise? When am I going to read? When am I going to run my errands? When am I going to work? You know, like, or any appointments that come up, anything like that. And it includes my goals. So like, you've got to write in time in your day of your week to accomplish your goals.
Yeah, and if you don't schedule time for you, then it just doesn't ever happen, is the real answer. So, and I know it seems kind of crazy, like I have to schedule time to meditate, but you do. Like, you do have to say, like, I know I'm going to have this block from here to here where I'm going to have quiet time. So put that in and say, like, this is my meditation time. Shut your door, whatever it might be, like if it's your office. Who knows, whatever that goal might be. It might be time that you sit down and look at your budget and, you know, go through each of your categories. It could be any of these different things. It could be making time to make a phone call to work on interpersonal relationships. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of use even that like quick 5 minutes that you have in between one thing to the next, of instead of like, you know, picking up your phone and scrolling through social media, you could maybe do, and I'm just using that as an example, but like there could be that 5 minutes that you're really using for something else. And so having something like some sort of a planner, reflections journal, gratitude journal, like all of that kind of stuff that you actually refer to daily helps you recognize your wins in the day, because sometimes it's easy to forget that 5 minutes that you took in the middle of the morning to work on one of your goals. It's so easy at the end of the day to be tired. Sometimes you feel defeated. You didn't accomplish nearly what you wanted to accomplish, and you don't even remember what you did accomplish. And so really taking that time to kind of reflect on the day, especially at the end of the day, it's quiet, nothing else is going on, is great. Because oftentimes there's wins in there. And then again, dopamine release, yay! Like, I did a good job. It keeps the energy up, and then from there, it just gets easier and easier. And any of these changes start to become lifestyle changes. So it does take a long time to make change into lifestyle change. So like,
it's a lot of hard work.
It does. So it takes consistency and time, and then it just becomes normative. So, you know, for me, meal planning, no big deal, right? I've been doing it so long at this point. It's easy. But when I first started meal planning, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's not.
Wait, what am I? This is taking forever. And I'm getting like, blah, 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 blah. I'm spending all of this time complaining about it. I like the result that I don't have to cook during the week. I save money. I eat healthier, like all of these positives, right? But I'm like, I was spending all this time complaining. I could have just been doing it and gotten it done.
Right.
And then you start actually enjoying it, because then it's like, ooh, what recipes am I going to do? Like, what's going to go really well this week? Last week, this went well. So I'm going to pair on that and then try this. And, then, you get the music going while you're cooking, and you got this, you got that. And, all of a sudden the kids are helping. And it's like, and then it's like, oh, this isn't bad. This is good. It's checking a lot of boxes.
Yes.
So,
pro tip, libraries, they have great recipe books, like great cookbooks.
Yep.
Pinterest, like you can get stuff anywhere for anything.
Yep. So like, that's just an example of being able to save money, improve health, all of that. That's just being able to meal plan, and that would go into a weekly goal. So I only cook once a week. I don't cook more than that. I don't. In the evenings, I honestly, like, I would rather be focused on being present than be trying to like get these dishes done, and get this done, and get that done. I know Dr. Bobbie, she prefers more having she likes cooking and doing that with the family. So we're just at different points in life where I like having something I can take out and heat up, and it's like one bowl meal, we're good.
Hey, it has its benefits. It does.
Yeah.
And we do that sometimes too, but crock pot makes it real nice and easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's not wrong to cook in the evenings. It's right for a lot of people. We're running so much, that it just adds too much to our evening. So yeah, for our evening. So that's kind of what we wanted to cover today, was really talking about how to bring that down from monthly goals into daily goals, monthly into weekly into daily, and how all of that, once we get into this level of like weekly to daily, this is where the real learning process happens. This is where you can make one tiny little change and get a pivot. That's much harder to do when you're looking at these higher level goals. Down here is where it's like you're in the nitty gritty. You're really making it happen and making that shift of like, I can read 3 nights a week and achieve my goal. And it's like, that's totally possible when you thought you were going to read 5 and then you ended up like never actually completing it at all, so there's lots of nuance in here. And so that's the beauty of goal setting, is that it is fluid and it is dynamic. It's not rigid. It's the opposite of rigid.
And we would love to hear one of your goals if you're willing to share. Yeah. So write it down below. Tag us on Instagram. We would love to hear what one of your goals is for 2024, because the more we share as a community, Dr. Jess and I will share one of ours. And the more we share as a community, the more likely we are to achieve them.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we do have downloadable templates for goal setting that brings you all the way from like the 50 dreams all the way into kind of getting more and more organized, and then into that daily planner. And so go to our website, www.2-gals.com, and there's downloadable PDFs there. So hopefully y'all find all of this helpful, and you are getting ready for next week, which is the beginning of the new year coming up. So stay tuned for what we have in store for, the next episode is I think New Year's Eve.
Recap.
It's
a recap. New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So we'll be kind of starting off 2024 at that point. So that's insane. 2024.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
It goes by, it's so fast.
It does. All right, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the episode today. If you would like to learn more about how 2 Gals can support you, then join our 2 Gals Insiders membership, which can be found at www.2-gals.com. Also, don't forget, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook as well as Instagram. Okay, everybody. Bye. Enjoy your week.